there's no final destination to it. It really is a journey of continuous growth, of refinement, of this unwavering commitment to be excellent and be always the better version of what we currently are. It's about embracing challenges and learning from every experience and becoming better and better and intentional at that betterment. Thank you so much for joining us. My name is Jenny.
I'm Toni.
And welcome back to In the House podcast. This week, we're going to talk about core values. And core values always comes up in my brokerage because we have 7 main ones. But we also have personal core values. You've recently worked on yours as well.
Yeah, I've done both. It's really interesting when you dial that in. Like, it's actually super fun because you can definitely use it as your guiding light personally for, how you're making decisions, how you're showing up. And then for the team, also really important, right? Because you want them to be able to imbue those same qualities that are so highly valued with clients and the like.
And values are fundamental principles or beliefs that are non-negotiables. And that's applied to you as a guiding light individually, how you conduct yourself in the community. And I would say at any point where you feel someone has kind of crossed the boundaries or crossed the line, you will stand very strong, holding on to your core values. And I know that core values, personal values are very subjective. I actually did an exercise recently for myself and for the team. And there was like 150 words.
Oh my goodness. How did you narrow those 150 words down?
Okay, so I would say there was a no pile and a yes pile to start. So I feel like every word, you have to really find a space in your heart or find a space in your body to be like, does this really... Do I like stand strongly about it? Do I feel strongly about this word? So for example, maybe one was about, oh my gosh, I'm lost for words right now.
Integrity?
Yes, integrity's been used so many times in our industry. I'm thinking of one that maybe that wouldn't be like peace. Okay.
This is one of my favorite words right now.
Is it? Okay. So peace came up on one of the 150 cards. But then peace wasn't my yes pile.
Okay. How come? How did you veto it?
I think very interesting process because, of course, internally I want peace. But at the same time, sometimes peace means, to me, the way I interpret it is like you're a people pleaser.
Okay, that's interesting. It is very subjective because I wouldn't have interpreted it that way myself.
Right? Yeah. So, and it could mean you're very peaceful and you want serenity, or solidarity. But then in that moment, I interpret it as you're a peacemaker.
Okay, so when I think of the word peace, because obviously today's conversation is about core values and finding what they are, and then why it is useful. When I think of peace, I don't think of peacemaker for me. If I'm really going internal here, it's like no anxiety, I'm calm, I'm grounded. And the reason why for me, peace has come up a lot this year, maybe not even as a core value, but perhaps it should be now that I'm realizing it in this conversation, is because I realized I was actually not living in that for as far back as I can remember. And actually, I do want to share something on the podcast. I had a massive realization this week. You probably knew this about me. I did not. And you as my friend were going to let me discover it on my own. I realized I actually have a trauma bond with work.
Okay.
This is not great. So we're working through that. But yeah, it was massive.
Well, I mean, it shows up in many different ways.
Yes.
But there are everybody goes through trauma, whether or not they admit it. And some show up really, really high on the surface. And then
Trauma
some are
bond.
just like deep down
It's so
and
deep.
you're not even aware of it.
Well, and so the reason this is still related to our main topic for today, but I think what it illustrates is that when you're doing your own core values, it's really important to sit with it and see how you feel because it is such a subjective thing. Even with the words peace, Jenny interprets it a different way than I do.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. Okay.
But I want to talk about the trauma
Oh,
bonding
sure.
with
Let's
work.
talk about it for a minute. Yeah, I know. But I actually stayed silent. So I made this discovery at the beginning of the week. I'm like, oh my goodness. And I was literally silent for like 10 minutes.
Are you able to share what exactly happened?
I will. Yeah. I mean, I'm leaving it all on the table, very raw. You guys know historically I've hated doing that, but I'm just going to do it. So, okay. So I was looking back at all of these cycles throughout my career. And, it's been a common theme that I want to break for good is when the health starts to plummet. I noticed that when that starts to happen, so there's actually signals even leading up to that I was not aware of the signals before. It's like, oh, I'm just working too hard. But for me, somatically in the body, there's actually something that starts to change. So for example, we could have the external pressures of a really busy market, or I can start to feel even before it happens that it's headed that way.
Mm-hmm.
Automatically in my body. So this probably happened in December because we started getting really busy in December prepping for January, like first week of January, listings on, buyers active. We're working on all these things. I realize now we're February?
February
But
2nd.
looking back in December, what happened was I already was future focused on all of the things that we needed to do to achieve our goals. I got hijacked with my hyperachiever, which turns out has actually been with me since I was like 5.
Mm-hmm.
And so intercepting that it's become very difficult to do. I'm more aware of it now. But hyperachiever as a saboteur, it can be very positive to get things done.
Mm-hmm.
And when it goes into overwork mode or like doing more,
Mm-hmm.
it's not good. It's detrimental to my health.
Correct. Yes.
So what I noticed was, I'm like, oh, why am I experiencing these things with my health now in February? I thought that I was really on top of everything. Oh, wait, I wasn't. What happened was I realized looking back in December when I felt that the market was going to explode, I already put my body in a state of like doing certain things where, I'm not eating proper meals. I'm not making time for myself. I'm scheduling more things in the calendar. I feel it in my body. So it's interesting because the habit that I want to break is like this doer, hyperachiever thing with work. I actually thought from, over the work that we've done over the years, I was in a better spot. And it turns out, no, there's just other layers that go along with it. So I actually realized that I react even when like I have negative feelings now towards when the market gets really crazy busy. It actually, I think I might have PTSD. I'm not joking. It reminds me of those times. And I know I'm not living in the past, but where I wasn't eating, I wasn't drinking water, I was going on appointments. I was scheduled from like 6 a.m. all the way to 10 p.m. It's long, back to back, back to back, back to back. And when I even go there feeling it in my body now, thinking about it, it makes me sick.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, we segued a bit there, but does that kind of make sense? I'm like, wow, this is a trauma bond.
Yeah.
So how do I break that?
So then go back to how does it relate to when you were 5 years old?
Oh, it's just the hyperachiever thing in me. So back then, okay, here's an example. I always did well in school. It was not acceptable to not have like A plus. Like I remember on one exam, and I've said this, I think before, when I was older than 5. Okay, the word spelling exams, it had to be perfect. I had to be perfect. All of the words had to be correct. But I didn't realize that was an issue. I was just like, yay, I'm getting a payoff here, which is like acknowledgement.
Mm-hmm.
And then fast forward to like high school. I remember this one science test in grade 10, because I wanted to do AP after. I remember I got like 99%, but I missed the 2 bonus questions.
Okay.
And so it's great that I got 99% or whatever. It doesn't really mean anything, but I did. And I was really upset about the 2 bonus questions that I missed because it didn't put me over the 100%.
Okay.
And then with work, like every job that I've had. So it's like a trauma relationship right now with my work, but actually it's existed long before that.
What would happen if you didn't, like you didn't get those bonus marks? You got upset.
Nothing. It's like a ridiculous, unrealistic
Like-
thing.
And did you feel like you weren't like worthy
Enough?
or you weren't?
Yeah. So it always goes back, for me at least,
Okay.
to that false belief of being enoughness.
Okay. And was it your parents or your teachers or your friends that?
I think it's actually internal within me. Like it's just a go-to.
Mm-hmm.
Some people have that type of programming. And also, sure, like my parents were amazing parents, very supportive. There is still an element of Asian culture.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what I mean? Like I remember one of our colleagues that we work with, she was like, oh, my daughter only got 95%. I asked her, what happened to the other 5? I'm like, oh my gosh. So I had to say to her, I was like, she got 95%, right?
Mm-hmm.
How about embracing that? You're focusing on the 5.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm. Asian
core
culture.
values. But so when it actually relates back to peace. So now peace has been a big word for me this year because when I feel peace, I don't look at it as peacemaker. I actually feel it in my body as being peaceful
Mm-hmm.
because looking back from when I was 5, it turns out I actually never had that feeling.
Mm. And so very unfamiliar feeling for you.
Yeah, I couldn't even access it over the last few years because I didn't know what that was like.
Mm-hmm.
So when people would say peace, I'm like, I don't actually understand what you mean.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I definitely understand what it feels to be in that vibration now.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm definitely not always there. Do you know what I mean? So now I have the contrast of, okay, I feel stress or anxiety and I feel peace. And so I can bring it back to peace. But this is like a very new thing.
Yeah.
Let's psychoanalyze. No, I'm just kidding. Any questions or comments before we move on?
Yeah, I want to add on. Very similar where my saboteur is an overachiever. I'm like a high 9.6.
Yeah, me too. It was like,
it's number 1.
almost 100%.
Mm-hmm. My victim pleaser is typically at the very bottom.
I know.
So this, obviously the overachiever has really gotten us advanced and far in our career.
But not happier.
It's, happiness is not, like happiness for me anyways, is, well, I'm lucky to be here.
Yes.
Like I'm lucky to live on earth. So it's not even about I deserve happiness. It's more so there's enough for me and therefore I just have to exist. Like I just have to do.
I love that.
Right. So I think for me, peace is about rest and reward, which came to me as a message recently. And I've never felt for me, it always felt like I had to go back to back with appointments.
Yeah.
There's never any
rest and respite.
Rest in between. And there was always, okay, I gotta make it on time. I can't go over. So I'm constantly looking at my time, my schedule. And I feel like sometimes when on my moments of journeys, that is the first thing that comes up is I'm exhausted. The word I'm exhausted.
There's similarities here for sure. And so, as I say, this was a really transformative thing because I'm like, oh my gosh, I just did it again. But it was more subconscious. Like I didn't actually know that was what was going to happen. And it did show up and manifest in the way that it's like appointment with no rest. So
what are you going to do this year?
Now. Pardon me?
What's your goal for this year, 2024?
Oh, well, that's why peace is such a massive word for me and more of the self-care elements as well. But actually, our good friend Gina Bourne said something to me yesterday. She said, because I said, she's like, you look tired. I'm like, I am tired, Gina. And then she said, and I said, I don't really understand because I have been implementing more self-care. And she said, Toni, you probably need to rest and do nothing for a year because it's just like, okay, you think that the 3 days or the week is going to completely reset you? No, because you're already behind. And so I'm like, should I take a year off?
Yeah.
I'm not going to do that right now. I don't know. Maybe soon.
I think it's hard to go from 100 to 0.
Gradual.
Yeah, gradual would be good. Maybe allowing your team to you have to offload.
I've been a lot better. They're so good.
I know, but you got to do more. You got to offload. I also feel like there's a little bit of
you can say
ADHD in you.
Totally.
Like, have you been fully diagnosed?
Oh God, no. I don't believe in those labels, but probably correct.
It's not a label.
No, I know. But do you know what I mean? Like, that's why I never did the testing, for sure.
Okay.
I think a lot of hyperachievers actually have an element of ADHD, or also I have a problem with perfectionism too. It's a struggle. Yeah.
Yeah. So you got to take a whole year off to figure this out. No.
Well, we'll see. We'll still do the podcast.
Okay. When you say you are taking self-care, it also doesn't mean, oh, I'm going to go do a facial. Because that's another
I don't
appointment.
Have time to do facials.
That's another appointment. Or I'm going to schedule my nap and then wake up with a time.
I do that.
With an alarm in 20 minutes. That is not self-care because that's still considered you're on a schedule. Okay. So back
core
to
values.
Core values. So values influence our personal choices, the way we manage relationships and how we pursue our goals. So this podcast, I want to talk about what my personal 3 core values are. And I want to learn what your personal 3 core values are. I think we did this exercise recently, alone and with our team. And I think it's great to allow people to really think about and reflect what their core values are and what the meaning of it is.
Mm-hmm. You can go first if you would like to share.
My first one is intuition. And I've always wondered, okay, well, how do we make decisions? Because typically I'm very rational, I'm very like left-brained. And so we are all born to be right-brained and think intuitively.
That's right.
And just go for things without really feeling like there's going to be consequences. However, as we grow up, parents will be like, "Oh no, don't touch that. It's gonna hurt you." Or
schooling.
Or let's just say you don't go for that scholarship. Okay, well, if you don't go for that scholarship, it's not going to get you further ahead. Or there's scares. There's opportunity losses. Intuition.
You're delving more into those energies and that side of your inner knowingness, right? The feeling rather than rational brain.
Right. Going back to the right side of the brain, it's that gentle whisper of wisdom in your heart and in your stomach and in your core of your being to really give you that hunch or inner knowing. And it's like a silent nudge.
So let me ask you a question. When you've been using intuition, okay, you've switched kind of from left brain to more right brain, right?
I've always had the right, but I questioned my right brain.
Similar for me too.
Because I wanted to make sure that the scale tipped more on the winning side.
Okay. Yeah. But so this is the thing. In your decision making, when you've been using your core value, which is intuition now, can you give an example of when it's actually worked out better than if you were going to use the other side of your brain? Because I totally understand this distinction, and it is difficult to explain if somebody's not gone there before or tried it.
Yeah, I'd say picking up a listing and working with a client that I don't want to work with.
Oh, totally.
So I think you can relate. You have many stories of this. Even last year, you shared a couple of them.
Unfortunate.
So left side brain says, okay, I can do this because the listing is easy and it's going to sell and I'll be making money. So very calculated, right? Makes sense. Check. Right side of the brain, this person's not the right fit. I don't like her personality or his personality, and just the energy's not vibing.
Yeah.
So
It doesn't feel right.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So I agreed to work with this person, with this client, and it wasn't working. It was not working.
It's
And
not
I
even worth
felt
it.
there's triggers that actually showed up.
Mm-hmm.
And so I would say after some time, decided to let that relationship go.
Yep. And how do you feel now?
Oh, it's his greatest thing
Amazing.
ever. Greatest thing ever.
Okay, good. Thank you for sharing that example.
So yeah, intuition came up as one of my core values because I really want to continue inviting that subtle like energy
Yep.
and nudge in my body and my being, and tuning into the depths of that and trusting that the universe will happen because I am in flow. I'm in flow state. And when I'm living authentically to my core, that is when I am in that moments of joy, because along the way I'm very confident, feeling very confident that that's who I want to be and how I want to represent myself.
Mm-hmm. Thank you for sharing that. That's beautiful. Mine are not as exciting as yours.
They don't have to be the same. They're your core values.
Well, I know, but it definitely is resonant. So my first one is respect, but I would like to speak a little bit more to this. So even if you go into micro levels of what actually does respect look like, I mean, of course, yeah, in my business, respecting the clients, respecting colleagues, those kinds of things. But I mean respect for myself in order to put up certain boundaries, which I have been lacking of in the past. I mean, respecting nature and life. Like I've been grounding in the forest. It's so great. And just, it's amazing what you can see there. And what other elements of respect, just respecting people. But it's like, what is respect? It can go down to just anything. Okay, here's an example. And I know that this might trigger some people because maybe they'd say, oh, you shouldn't have done that, Toni. But I felt good about it. So have you ever read Conversations with God by, what is his name? Neil Donald Walsh, I think is his name.
No.
Okay. And you know that I did not grow up religious, and I'm not
Right.
religious. I would consider myself somebody that aligns with spirituality.
Recently. Right?
Yes.
Mhm.
But in this book, it was a transformative book to read because essentially it tells the tale of this fellow who, he was a regular hardworking man, had a few kids and a wife, and then all of a sudden there were certain things outside of his control, events that happened, a really bad car accident where he almost died. Then he couldn't work. He owned a house, all of those kinds of things, like pretty normal. But when all of those things happened to him, he was not able to support himself or his family. So he ended up on the streets for many years. And in the book, it actually, when I read it, I just felt so awful for this person. So he didn't have anything, but he would say that, he was still a person, of course. And he sometimes would have to ask people, he didn't want to, but ask them for money because he hadn't eaten in like a week.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And the message of one of his books was like, if someone asks for help in that way, because we have judgment, people have judgments and things, right? It's like, oh, well, don't, because they're lazy. He was not lazy.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not one of my personal feelings towards it, but I know that can come up. So where I'm going with this is that he did say in the book, he said, you never know what someone's story is.
Mm-hmm.
And honestly, I just needed a little bit of help. I felt like I was going to die. And then one day, when he was alone at home, he actually asked God. He was like, why is this happening to me? You're not there for me. I am not supported. And he started hearing God. And I'm like, what the heck? So there's like all these texts where he's had conversations. These books are very famous and they're like all over the world. But where I was going with this is like, yesterday I went to go pick up my son from his Code Ninjas thing. And there was a fellow that was asking for money. And I think it's like, I just acknowledge the fact that, and it was okay. They had their own reasons because you never know where other people are at, right? They were just walking past him, not acknowledging. He had a sign up and everything. So I stopped, I looked at the sign, I read it. And basically his story was that he also had a job. He's come upon hard times. I would not assume that he's lazy. I think probably some things happen.
Mm-hmm.
So I gave him $5.
Mm-hmm.
Now, even family would, like extended family would probably give me shit for that because
Right.
it's like, oh, well, but that's their own stuff.
Yeah.
And so when we talk about respect, there's multiple ways to respect life, but I think it also relates to kindness. And so that is why one of my core value words personally is respect, respect for others, myself, and for nature. Long-winded, but there you go.
Oh, thank you for sharing that.
You're welcome.
That is, yeah, mutual respect for sure.
Mutual respect.
Yeah. My second core value is vision. I find that it's really hard to meet someone that actually has the same, not same vision, but to look past what's in front of them.
And create. You're like a creator.
I'm a creator, a visionary, or I'm not even say a manifestor, but a generator.
Yeah.
Right. And I believe my vision has provided me with a north compass of unlimited possibilities.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I'm a person who can see things that are unimaginable to somebody else, but I'm like, I can see your potential. And for me, that propels me to move away from the constraints or break the glass ceiling.
I think that's also related to the fact that you're embracing intuition though too. Because there's an element of that in vision as well, right?
I think intuition is involved in everything,
Mm-hmm.
because it's in you. Regardless of what values, it's in you.
Mm-hmm.
Vision, I feel like it is a tool or a skill that I think most people
You have to develop it too.
are not tapped into. Or maybe they're just like feeling complacent, or they're feeling scared to go beyond the scope that they have that's right in front of them. And so what they see is just what's in the line of their vision.
Well, it is scary because then you're basically talking about the unknown. And human as creatures, we gravitate towards the known. Like, what do you know?
Yeah.
Oh, this is safe.
Yeah.
But it doesn't provide for a lot of expansion then.
Yeah, no, not at all. And in my career, or even since I was born, I feel like I've evolved or transformed so many times because of my vision. And it's, again, a combination of like calculated risk, where there was a scale of like a numbering scale of whether or not it will work in my favor. But going back to, my intuition showing up more and more now is reaching for the stars. There's so many stars in the sky.
I know.
You just can't count them.
How are you going to pick one? Or more, or abundantly more.
So yeah, I'm just saying, like, vision is so personal to me because I do feel like it's a special skill that I think not a lot of people carry.
Can I pose a question? Just curious. When you say vision as well, does it relate at all to your third eye?
Perhaps. I would say I don't know too much in depth about the third eye chakra. Although, I've had exercises with facilitators that would try to help me open up my third eye. But at the end, I haven't really studied in depth that chakra.
Okay.
However, I do, I believe definitely that you have to be unblocked, and there are powers to energy that will allow you to open that up. So it's definitely exercises that I could practice more. I think for vision though, it's more just not being afraid to try new things and to see different opportunities and to say yes to everything.
Beautiful. My next one is pretty simple. It's love. I know you're like, oh gosh, what's she talking about?
That was part of the 150 cards.
Was it?
Yeah.
Okay. I want to share an example as well, because I'm like, what does it mean to me? Like, what do you mean? What does love mean? So for me right now, okay, I just had this scenario happen recently. I got I'm doing a commercial deal right now. And it turns out that this fellow lied about many things to do with the property.
The person who lists, like the seller or like the landlord?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. And so as a human, for sure, right? I mean, I'm looking after my client, those kinds of things. You could feel really angry about that. I definitely disagree with it. I don't think that it's right. And it sounds silly, but even finding love for that person, it's like, yeah, I don't agree with what you did, doesn't condone it, still not okay. We need to now work out a solution towards this. And if I put myself in your shoes, I still wouldn't have done what you done. But no, honestly, like I'm not okay with lying. Um, but I could see that they were really in a tough spot. So it was finding something where there was commonality, because I do feel we're all connected by love. Like, would this person ever become a friend of mine? No. It was just really interesting because there was I had conflicting emotions towards it, and then there was like it was like, okay, fine, love. Okay, there's an empathy towards this person. You shouldn't have done it like that. We're gonna now have to fix it.
Mm.
And
So
I resonate with.
So you're saying that you have to love every person.
I do.
And that it comes in different forms.
Yeah, and it's hard too sometimes because, for example, like you might not have the same belief systems as somebody too, but can you still find love for them?
Hmm.
I've been doing
There's
a better
room
job
for
at
that,
that. There
no?
is room for that. Yeah. So that's a really important core value for me. Or like, you don't know why people do certain things. You're not walking in their shoes.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that we're really quick to judge. We've talked about this before too. And it's like, oh, this person did this. Now I'm offended. It's like, well, you
did
don't
this person
know.
like lie because they were shameful or they were?
I think so, yeah. And again,
Right.
it's not okay.
Mm-hmm. No, but it probably triggered something from past trauma, perhaps created that safety zone for them to lie.
Yeah, absolutely. And so we're working on it now, but it was just interesting because part of me was like angry, and then I'm like, wait, okay, this is just feeling the anger is not really going to be constructive.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, so that's a really important core value. And yeah, like I love you. I love Braden, our producer. Even people that, I love our competitors. It's so great. I'm like, everybody can win.
Okay.
Next.
Well, there's only one religion, and it's love.
Yeah, I'm feeling it though. Every day I feel it now.
Good.
Mm-hmm.
It's good to receive love.
So good to be in the receiving mode of love. I never allowed that before.
I know.
But now I do.
It's a very unfamiliar territory for Asians like us.
Yeah.
So my final core value I want to share is mastery. Is
good word.
Guiding ourselves toward our fullest potential. And there's no final destination to it. It really is a journey of continuous growth, of refinement, of this unwavering commitment to be excellent and be always the better version of what we currently are. It's about embracing challenges and learning from every experience and becoming better and better and intentional at that betterment.
I love that word though, mastery. It's funny because that's not on my core values list, but I am definitely aligned with it. Just the word itself, it's like, yeah, that makes sense.
Well, I would say every time you complete a deal, whether that went sideways or whether that went really well, you're going to try to do something better, even better for the next deal. Or I'm always, exploring ways to. And it's not just increasing numbers or trying to get better impressions or click-throughs, or it's more just how can we stand out from the rest of, how can I stand out from the rest of the competition so that I am setting a certain standard. Right? And so,
this is such a great core value for you.
That's been my North Compass my entire life is refining.
That also could speak to your perfectionist side too, as well. A little bit of element of that, but not in the saboteur way.
A little bit, yes.
A little bit. Okay, my third and final one is integrity. So I'm going to give you one of the definitions of what it says, and then I want to make a distinction. It says integrity refers to the quality of being honest and having strong moral principles. It is a personal trait that involves a consistent alignment of one's actions, values, methods, measures, principles, expectations, and outcomes. Integrity is often seen as honesty and truthfulness or accuracy of one's actions. It can be understood as the state of being whole, undivided, or unimpaired condition. So for me, this is a really important word. I don't mean it in the way when it says having strong moral principles. I don't mean the word integrity in terms of being right or wrong. Does that make sense? Like for righteousness, absolutely not.
Mm-hmm.
But more so, I'm looking at it towards myself. So am I acting in an aligned way? Like these things are important to me. Do my actions, words, and even at my intentions align with what I have said is important to me? And I'll probably explore this word a little bit more. Just, I don't know, I just have to be with it in the day to day. Because an example of when I have been acting out of integrity, right? And that's why I'm like, it's guiding me. So when I've been acting out of integrity, it could be, for example, it's normally for a personal commitment to myself, which is the
Mm-hmm.
worst. And that's also why it's one of my core value words, because it's helping me right now redefine what it means to be in line with myself and what's actually best for Toni as a person. Like, for example, out of integrity would be skipping a meal because I thought that there was scarcity of time, and then granting the appointments, which is a past thing that I used to do. And that is out of integrity with where I am going. So I hope that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
What a fun episode. What are your guys' core values? I'm curious.
Yeah, I mean, core values actually will help you and your team and everything that you do, all decisions you make every day, provide some guidance and some direction on how you operate yourself and how you are interacting with people. It gives you a sense of purpose every day, but it also helps you align with people so that you can feel cohesive. You can feel like you're working with the ethos
Yeah,
of
the
your
ethos.
work culture, right?
Mhm.
I do think mission statement, having a vision, and having core values should be part of everybody's business plan. And whether you put it up on your whiteboard, whether you take it out of your wallet or review it every year as well, and review it with every person that you're onboarding is really, really important to provide a guiding light to yourself and to your team.
Yeah, it's your barometer, right? Are you on the right path for what you had set for yourself, your vision? But listen, we really want to support you guys as well in your personal journeys, personal and professional journeys. So let us know what your core values are in the comments if you're watching this on Instagram or on YouTube, because we're all over and we'd love to hear from you.
Thanks for tuning in. Take care.